Today I'm going to be showing you things that could be coming to Minecraft in the future. You know what everyone wants in their house? A one-to-one replica statue of themselves. And this could be a possibility in the future by adding the ability to give armor stands player skins. It would be a little bit weird having mannequins in your single player world, but I can definitely see this being used a lot in multiplayer. Minecraft 1.22 has been speculated to be the end update. Although this is not confirmed, if 1.22 does bring new updates to the end, one of the updates we would be seeing is a new ore. Radium ore has been under review by Mojang for a while now. It's an ore that would be found in the end that could be smelted to make radium ingots, which could then be turned into a radium block. Radium blocks emit light, and they would be radioactive, applying poison to anything near it. So building your house out of it probably isn't ideal. You know how the wandering trader has llamas? Not anymore. Well, imagine if this dog was this villager's pet. That's right, villagers could have pets in the future. The concept is, if you attack a villager, his pet will come defend him just like the golem does. Now I think this is a really cool idea, as long as it doesn't get too crazy. Waves could be added to Minecraft. Now this is one of the more possible changes to be added in the summer update, as it matches the whole ambient theme that Mojang is going for. I think waves would also make the water and vibrant visuals look way better than the current flat Lego design that we've seen so far. Obviously the waves wouldn't be this crazy though, but it would be cool if they were. It's kind of fun to surf these in a boat. We could also see seals being added to the ocean in the future as well. The seal does have a ton of similarities to the dolphin though, so it would probably take a full ocean update to see seals added to the game, which could also bring the addition of crabs and lobsters to the game. These mobs would be the size of a silverfish, and they probably would attack you with claws if you go near them. You could get crab and lobster meat from killing crabs, and you could even catch them with crab traps as a new alternative to fishing. Another simple change related to the ocean is the ability to repair tridents. Right now you need another trident to repair your current trident in an anvil, when instead you could just be able to use prismarine shards to make repairing tridents a lot more affordable. Another simple change we could see is the ability to push chests with a piston. I didn't even know that this was impossible until seeing this suggestion, and if you play Bedrock, you wouldn't know this is impossible because it is possible on Bedrock. With Mojang adding a lot of features from Bedrock to Java, this could possibly be added to Java very soon. Another thing that could possibly be added is double jumping. A double jump enchantment could be added to boots that would probably work similar to how it does on servers. Now this would kind of make jump boost potions completely useless, as double jump would just be way better, but it's still a cool concept for a new enchantment, or possibly a new type of boots that are specifically made for double jumping. I say this because we could also be seeing a new type of boots called speedy boots, as Steve calls these things speedy boots in the Minecraft movie. So a new type of boots that gives you speed naturally could be added in the future, although these might just be soul speed boots that have been given a cool look just for the purpose of the movie. We could also see backpacks being added in 1.22. Similar to bundles, which were just recently added, backpacks could serve as an inventory inside of an inventory, or even add slots to your inventory when worn, although I would assume they would get a new item slot if this was the case, because wearing a backpack over a chestplate could be a bad idea. Another wearable item that could be coming to the game is mob heads. Okay, obviously mob heads are already in the game. I mean more mob heads than the ones we currently have. Like maybe a head for every single mob in the game. Having every mob head in the game would be super cool, as it would give people a new challenge to collect every head in the game. Wait, how did they get this? Colored stairs and slabs have been missing from the game for a while, and new terracotta and concrete slabs, stairs, and walls could fix this issue, or just adding every single color of wood could fix this too. I wonder which one Mojang will do first. Also, changing the color of the sky could be a feature coming to the game soon. You wouldn't be able to do this in survival, but a command to change the color of the sky could be very cool. And we could even have different sky colors for certain biomes, kind of like the fog in the nether, or even just biomes where it's always night or always daytime. I'm looking at one biome in specific. Dog beds could be added to Minecraft, which would serve as a way to have a more permanent pet in Minecraft. As similar to how beds work on players, dog beds would set a respawn point for your dog. This would stop your friends from killing your dog when you're not online, and instead they would have to be a little bit more creative. We could also see skeleton dogs, which are dogs that have been struck by lightning. A skeleton would no longer be afraid of this dog, as it is now a skeleton dog, and you could maybe even find skeletons walking around with their own skeleton dogs, kind of like how skeletons can ride skeleton horses. Also under review is a giant biome. No, not like this. This. This guy wrote an entire essay about the giant biome, but pretty much it's a biome where everything is giant. I shrunk myself to give you an idea of how this would look. It's based off of the giant mob, where everything in the biome would be normal sized for the giant. The biome would be extremely rare, and the fights would be a lot more challenging as the bigger mobs would have more health, but because of this, they would also drop more items. Imagine mining diamond ore in the giant biome, or a ruby, sapphire, and crystals in the new magic forest biome. I don't know how this post is under review, but this biome is a similar concept to the giant biome. It has giant trees, flowers, mushroom houses, and there's a new mob that would be the opposite of giant, the fairy. This kind of reminds me of the Twilight Forest mod, and it would be cool to get a biome with magic. Just please don't add spells. Spells get way too confusing. Another mod that could come to Minecraft is the Aether mod, but not really. The Skylands dimension is under review though. Based on the old Floating Islands world type, you would build a portal kind of like a nether portal that could take you to a new dimension that possibly has a new boss. Obviously I'm using the Aether for reference because the concept is very similar. The only difference here is that if you fall in the void in the Skylands, you get teleported down to the overworld. You don't just die. Beavers could also be a mob that is added in the future in Minecraft. A beaver would come with a new structure called a beaver dam, which is a reference to a beaver dam in real life if you couldn't tell. Beaver dams would be made of a new stick block, and beavers could even drop beaver skin to be used to make beaver armor, and this beaver armor would turn you into a beaver when you swim underwater. We could also see an oasis being added to the desert, as there have been a few desert updates recently. It would be a structure with palm trees, water, and bamboo. I do wonder if this would function like a real oasis though. Wait, where did it go? Alright, I'm gonna die of thirst now, GG. I wouldn't die of thirst if I had a grappling rope though. I wouldn't die of thirst at all in Minecraft actually. Wait, how? A grappling rope is a possible future item that can be used to go up things without using blocks. Beyond that, I don't see it being very useful as there are blocks in Minecraft which you can use to navigate terrain. But it's Minecraft, so you never know. Rice could also be a new plant coming to Minecraft, except you would have to plant rice in water instead of in the ground. You could then harvest rice and use it to make some new food. You could have just a bowl of rice, you could make sushi, you could even make fried rice in a furnace, or even a bag of rice, which could be a cool new block used to stop flowing water. Ignore that almost every other block in the game can already do that. A couple of insane things that I don't even know how they are under review is the red dragon that Notch planned to add years ago, which is still somehow under review to this day. The water dragon, as if the red dragon wasn't enough. I will say that the water dragon may have inspired the warden a little bit with the mention of the deep dark ocean. Hopefully it did, because this is way too many dragons. A giraffe, which isn't that crazy. I just say this because a savannah update just happened and there was no giraffe added, so we probably won't be seeing a giraffe anytime soon. And finally the kraken, which is an underwater boss that is basically a giant squid that can grab you and shoots ink at you. So first off, if you missed Minecraft Live, ghasts have been turned into blocks and it's kind of like marshmallows. You can't eat them, but you can add water to them in the overworld, and now we have a smiling ghast, and soon this smiling ghast turns into a ghastling, which is alive and flies around, and when you feed the ghastling a billion snowballs, it turns into a happy ghast. Kind of the same concept as human evolution. Next, you can craft a harness using this recipe, and if you right click a happy ghast with this harness, it turns the ghast into a blimp, which means you can now ride a ghast. After seeing this, I could not believe it's real. Why does the ghast need these pilot goggles? This design is insane. Anyways, you can have 4 people on a ghast at a time, and you can use the ghast to basically get creative mode building and survival, which is way better than the previous method for this. 1.22 is also going to feature a player locator bar in multiplayer, and for some reason this bar currently just flat out replaces the XP bar. But yeah, it's basically a compass on your hotbar that can be used to locate other players in your world without their consent. And if you see one of these in your single player world, do not interact with it. Next up, you will not believe it, but Minecraft is finally adding shaders to the game. Vibrant Visuals is essentially a shader pack in vanilla Minecraft, which is really cool though, because it's a shader pack in vanilla Minecraft. They finally added shaders to the game. This is Minecraft 2. A couple interesting things are these pixelated shadows, which is different to most shader packs that just have blurred edges on the shadows, and also this water, which I'm not gonna lie, kinda looks like Lego, so I don't know if I'm a fan of that. At the bottom of this, it says captured on a high-end PC, PC. So rest in peace to anybody who's playing on an old laptop, or a tea kettle, or the Las Vegas Sphere. You're probably not going to be able to run this feature. The first feature that is actually playable right now in the newest version of Minecraft is fallen trees. Now you can find trees that have fallen down. Apparently this was already a thing in Bedrock, but this raises the question of how did the trees fall? Because when I break part of this tree, gravity does not exist. So who is making these trees fall? I imagine you've probably noticed that there's human feces all over the ground as well. This is leaf litter. Not only are the trees falling, we got falling leaves now too. These leaves immediately change color upon touching the ground. Unless you're in a pale garden, then the leaves are lore accurate. If you're really out of it like me and you missed this update, the pale garden is like the roofed forest, but it's pale. And there's a dude that spawns in it at night. This is the bro. I don't know what he does. Why am I Steve? Who made me Steve? Anyways, what's changed with him in this update is that now if you put a name tag on him, he will survive throughout the day. So you can keep him now as a pet. As you can see, there's no such thing as pig racism. The pigs got different variants now. Mojang must have finally listened to me and added these to the game. We got cold pigs and we got warm pigs. The cold pig is rocking a pig fur coat, as you can see. Pretty tough. Then we got the warm pig with a stripe on his back. Butt naked. Quick intermission. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I swear the lighting looks different. Does anyone else think it looks different? Like, this is different, right? We got cow variants being added as well. It's pretty much the same concept as the pigs. The warm cow is like one of those bulls because it's got horns. Nah. And this is the cold cow, same kind of thing, but with a fur coat again. And finally, you know Mojang had to add chicken variants too. I'm not gonna lie, the cold chicken be looking crazy. This dude got more hair than me. And instead of regular eggs, cold chickens now lay blue eggs, which I don't think they do anything different. It's just a way to get cold chickens in different biomes, I guess. And just like the other mobs, there's a warm chicken as well. It's yellow. Actually, it's kind of golden. No, it doesn't drop gold when you kill it. But you can get a brown egg from the golden chicken, and it's a similar concept to the blue egg. It's just used to spawn warm chickens instead. Now Mojang is so close to adding ducks. Just add ducks, please. I have a couple things written down here from a month ago that have to do with sheep. New sheep, they're now upside down. Don't know what that means. I don't think it means anything. Sheep wool color changes based on the biome they are spawned in. So yeah, sheep are now color coded. I don't exactly know how this works, but it's on screen. As you can see, I was confused a month ago too. Sheep in deserts? Who the Fortnite spawn in sheep in deserts? But the most important change here is that the sheep's face now has wool on it. That's not what that's supposed to say. It's supposed to say that the sheep's face is now colored based on the color of the sheep's wool. You can also shear a sheep now, and the little wool spots left underneath are colored as well. That's all we have about sheep for now. The sheep man is in the next update. But now I'm going to share something interesting that I just found out myself. This might not even be a new feature. I don't know. But fish come in different sizes now. If you spawn a bunch of salmon, sometimes you get a big one and sometimes you get a small one. But if you kill them, you get the exact same amount of salmon no matter what size it is. This also works on cod. No, it doesn't. This also works on squids. There's baby squids now, which is awesome because, I mean, it's pretty cool. Not much to say about that. Did that squid just turn into a baby when I punched it? I don't even know, man. There isn't really much to say about a lot of these updates, like the lodestone now being made with an iron ingot instead of netherite. And it can be found in ruined portals. It was already found in bridge bastions though, so like who was even crafting it anyways? And I just said something about one of the updates, so I guess I was wrong. Beacon beams are wider now when you are far away. You can find bundles in villages. I didn't even know the bundle got added to the game. It was like a mythical feature that I thought would never be obtainable in survival. And camels can now spawn naturally in the desert. All those things are random and have nothing to do with each other. But other than camels, the desert actually has gotten quite a few updates. To start off, we can get flowers from a cactus now. It's called the cactus flower, and it can be used to make pink dye, or it can just be used as a decoration, like the new dry grass that is found all over the desert as well. Similar to leaf litter, I think this is just an ambient block. I don't think anything can be done with it. It's kind of like the dead bush, except this one doesn't drop sticks. It does come in different sizes though. I also have written down that there are scary sounds in the desert now. I think it's just this sound, which I can't even hear, so it's not really scary. There's new wolf sounds now as well. Wolves now have one of 7 random personalities. It's like pandas, except it's wolves. Your wolf can now be angry, big. That's big AF. Your wolf can be cute. Your wolf can be grumpy. Your wolf can be puglin. And finally, your wolf can be sad. There's also still the regular old sounds as well. Big news for cows. Now they have an extruded nose instead of a flat nose. Same thing for mushrooms. Super big news. And you're also able to spawn them from these brand new cow-themed spawn eggs. Along with those eggs, every single spawn egg has been changed to match the mobs that they spawn. Some of my favorites here is the tadpole. That is not a tadpole. The villager kind of looks like Easter Island. And the hoglin. I mean, this isn't even an egg anymore. It's just a hoglin. There's also some new test blocks that are added in this update. We got the happy and sad test blocks. These look like a lot of people's skins. We got this one. It's got like a crosshair on it. This one, which has some kind of structure test inside of it. And this chat bubble one that does the same thing as all the other ones except for the structure one. And what they do is, I really like that they can, it's super cool that they... Another new block is the wildflowers, which are like the pink petals from 1.21, except instead of being found in cherry biomes, these can be found on the ground in birch forests. They work exactly the same as pink petals. You can place 4 of them in one block like this. And you can also find firefly bushes now, which is a type of bush that houses fireflies inside of it, which are not currently a mob in the game. They're just pixels that are found hovering around these bushes. Supposedly you can also hear a buzzing sound when you go near a firefly bush. I am not hearing a buzzing sound though, so I don't know about this. If that wasn't enough ambience though, we also have an alternative to tall grass now, or short grass, as it's apparently called now. For me, both of these were always called tall grass, but I guess I can't do that anymore. Anyways, this is a bush, and it's different to short grass as it's more dense. That's really it. It's a bush, dude, I don't know. This is a TV that sort of looks like plankton for some reason, and to build this, you need to place an item frame with a glass pane over a stone block, and then you have to throw 2 tridents at the top like this. You can also build a laptop using a similar setup, except using a pressure plate and trapdoor instead. Another household item you can build with a pressure plate and trapdoor is a chair, which is basically just a laptop on top of scaffolding. There's also another chair which you can build using any type of wood, but it's a little big. And there's this chair you can make as well, which actually looks pretty cool. Just make sure you don't fall through the cushion while you're sitting on it. Something that is in almost everyone's house is a chandelier. What? You don't have one? Okay, maybe it's not this fancy, but I'm sure everyone has a small chandelier that can be built like this with signs all around the outside of it. It's more like a lamp, I'm pretty sure, but calling it a chandelier makes it seem fancy. If you want to build a kitchen, you'll probably need a fridge, and luckily you can build one using quartz, some item frames with this slab in it, and some banners. And if you even want to take this a step further, you can place a dispenser behind the banner and then put some food in it so it's more realistic. Speaking of food, you can use a waterlocked slab to make pasta like this. And you can also use a dispenser to place some armor stands inside of a slab and make a tiny grill cooking meat like this. If you eat too much food, you're gonna want to use the bathroom, and luckily you can make a toilet by placing a diamond helmet as water under a stair like this. And after using the bathroom, you might want to light some scented candles, which you can make really long by placing an end rod underneath. Finally, you can make a garbage bin that actually works by placing a bunch of paintings around a cactus. And if for some reason you want a large clock in your house, you can build one by placing some slabs on the side, a slab and sign like this, a block with an item frame on top, and then a bell in the middle. It's supposed to do that every hour. Now that you've decked out your house with build hacks, it's time to move on to some random builds. Starting with this very large trophy that definitely wouldn't fit on a shelf, and a super large rifle that is made out of wood, which really has me questioning if it would work. You can also make a witch pot, which is just a respawn anchor with trapdoors around it, and you can make a dragon head that looks like it has a sword going through it, and you can even add ketchup. That's definitely what this is. If those builds weren't random enough, you can make a guy who got locked up using item frames and an armor stand like this, and you can make a Lego brick if you manage to get your hands on some colored heads. If you didn't like the idea of killing the Ender Dragon earlier, you can just make a regular upside down sword like this. And by placing a carpet underneath a block like this, and then putting an armor stand through it, you can create a chessboard by giving it a chain helmet and putting a pressure plate underneath it. Now obviously those build hacks were cool, but it's time to show you some of the coldest build hacks known to man. If you build a cube of ice like this, and then put a Steve armor stand inside of it, you can push some ice on top of him and make a man who is freezing to death. You can also make some cracked ice by placing glow lichen on top of it, and you can build a penguin by using some concrete like this, a beak, and then placing some banners on the front and the sides. You can place a stair in a slab like this, some signs on the side, and a fence gate on the back to make a sled, and if you want to give this sled some power, you can attach a dog to the front of it like this. Come on, hurry up, go faster. If you need more power for your sled, you can put some stairs like this, add a carpet on the back, and then place some fence gates gates on the side to make a reindeer. Okay, now this thing should be super fast. We got Rudolph pulling it. Reindeers help deliver gifts, so here's a gift made from a kelp block and candles, and here's a happy kid who just got what he wanted for Christmas. I'm not gonna let that happen. I'm a hater. You can make a small tree by placing azalea leaves on top of a dead bush, and you are even able to make that tree dead with some mangrove roots on top instead. You can make another cool plant by placing coral on top of some waterlogged slabs, and if you want to make some bulrushes, you can place some glass panes like this with a brown candle on top. You can also make another type of bulrush like this, as seen in my previous build hack video. Another outdoor build is the swing, which is made by placing some upside down lightning rods like this, and then putting some trapdoors underneath. You can also place 4 trapdoors like this with a waterlogged slab in the middle, and then place an egg and some coral on top to make a nest. You can even put this in a tree to be more realistic, although it looks very unnatural. There are a lot of bugs outside, and you can make one of them by placing a button through an item frame like this. You can also make a water cart, whatever that is, by placing some slabs like this, with trapdoors and some fence gates on the side, and then some barrels and a sign on top, and a tripwire as a faucet like this. Another thing with wheels is a wheelbarrow, which is made with these 3 blocks, and you can even fill it up by putting some compost in the middle. Wheelbarrows are usually used for farming, so let's check out some farm builds next. You can place a candle on top of melons and pumpkins to give them a stem, or you can use a sea pickle depending on how big you want it to be. You can also make a pineapple by putting this vine thing on top of a shroom light like this, and if you want to build a cake, you can place a piece of dirt and put some snow on top, and then you can add redstone on the top as a strawberry. This cake probably tastes really bad though, it's made out of dirt. Apparently fish barrels are real, and you can make a salmon barrel with a raw copper block and some trapdoors on the side. Or you can change it out for a raw iron block if you want to make a cod barrel instead. Another type of barrel is a honey barrel, and this time I'm actually not sure what that is. I've never heard of a honey barrel before. If you want to make your dinner table look more realistic, you can place a pressure plate on top of an item frame and place some food in it to look like a plate like this. And you can even add some condiments on the table and place some sea pickles on the side, which kind of look like cups. So much detail just for you to eat all the food in 2 seconds. If you have a dog, you can build a small doghouse by placing 5 trapdoors like this with a couple more trapdoors on the top. And you can even place a dog bowl on the side to give him something to drink. Another dog bowl you can do is this design using a decorated pot, and pairing them together looks like both food and drink. If you don't have a dog, you might have a cat, and there's also a cool cat structure you can build. First, place a scaffolding and trapdoors like this, add some fences on the back, and then place a couple carpets on top, and then you have a nice place for your cat to live. You might also have a parrot, in which you can also give a house. Well, sort of. In order to do this build, you have to push a piece of glass over top of the parrot, which is probably seen as animal cruelty. So something you can do that is less cruel is this bird bath, which uses a waterlogged slab and some signs on the side. Or you can place a hanging sign like this as a parrot perch. You are also able to use a bell if you don't think the hanging sign looks good enough. And you can also build a cage, which is slightly less evil, and it's built using fences like this, a slab and a trapdoor on top, and a chain and scaffolding attached underneath. This build also exceeds the build size limit for this video, but I'm just gonna let it slide because it looks pretty cool. The last build in the pets category is this snail, which I'm not really sure if it counts as a pet. Snails are also really slow, so the fact that it doesn't move might actually not matter. Now that we've seen all these different build hacks, it's time for some more random build hacks that have no common theme. Something that for some reason isn't in Minecraft is balloons, but with a colored block, a fence, and a little animal cruelty, it is actually possible to have balloons in Minecraft. Another thing that is also not in Minecraft is hot springs, but that can be changed by placing some trapdoors and some campfires underneath a pool of water. You can also do the same technique by placing campfires under lava to get some smoky lava, and this time you don't even need the trapdoors. I would be careful when swimming in this one though, because it might be a little too hot. If you're tired of how the regular TNT looks, or just scared of building with it in case something like this happens, then you can actually place a barrel like this and put some signs on the side that say TNT to make an old looking block of TNT. You can even highlight the signs in white to make the text stand out and add a candle on top to look like a fuse. If you aren't afraid of using TNT to build, you can also place a bunch of TNT like this and then put some candles on top, and they will kind of look like individual dynamite sticks. You can even light them if you want, but just be careful you don't accidentally misclick. If you do set off the TNT by accident, it might be possible you need to build a grave, and luckily you can do that with 3 podzol blocks like this, an anvil, a skull of your choice, and a couple of flowers, and then you have a tiny gravestone for whoever died as a result of your TNT accident. Another random build hack is this super thin ladder, which is just a ladder placed on trapdoors, and something really cool you can do is place trapdoors alternating like this with ladders on each of them, and you can make a 1 block spaced working ladder, stair, and an item frame frame, which can be rotated to look like an arrow. And the cool part of this is you can place a sign on the side and then write something for it to point to. These tiki torches, which you can make using bamboo fences, and if you want to add some extra detail, you can attach a mob with a lead to the top, but obviously you will have to. You can also make one of those bulrush things that are found in swamps, and if you want to make corn, you can place a bamboo fence on top of 2 bamboo sticks instead. You can also place some bamboo fences alongside some real bamboo to make it look like dead bamboo, and you can even take it a step further with some oak fences which look extra dead. If you want to sell some bamboo on the black market, you can place some signs around the bamboo blocks and it will look like it's packaged up, or you can also stack a bunch of bamboo rafts to make a pile of bamboo. Another cool thing you can do with bamboo is place an item frame underneath a bamboo button to make a block of cheese. But this is probably some pretty moldy cheese. There are a lot of things you can make with a decorated pot, such as this pillar design, this tiny lamp, or this palm tree, which you can even mix with some of the different designs to look like carvings in the wood. But something really cool you can do with these pots is if you place one of these in the ground and then you put a carpet on top of it, it kind of looks like a pet bowl for your dog or your cat or your person. You can also place a pot underneath a moss carpet, and depending on what's around you, it can either look like an anthill or a landmine. If you place these pots with a bunch of gold, they kind of look like money bags, and if you place them with some TNT and then light a candle on top of it, it kind of looks like a bomb that's about to explode. Speaking of bombs, you can also hang one of these pots from a chain and then put a campfire under it like this, and it kind of looks like a cooking pot. You can also build a faucet type thing coming out of the ground and then place a glass pane in a pot underneath it to make it look like it's being filled up with water. Another cool thing you can do is place some pots in a palm tree and they will look like coconuts. And you can place a pot as a base for a street light like this, or you can even place it at the bottom of some bushes, which looks slightly better than a cauldron. You can also place a couple of these pots on top of a house, and if you combine this with some cobwebs, it actually looks like a chimney. But one of the most interesting uses for these pots is to make a punching bag that you are actually able to use in game. Okay, you can't really use it, but you also can't tell me I'm not punching it. Now obviously those hacks are cool, but it's time to show you some of the most illegal build hacks known to man. If you apply this armor trim to a leather helmet and then place it 1 block deep on an armor stand, you can use a piston to push a bookshelf through it, and it kind of looks like a stray book sitting on top of the shelf. Another thing you can do is dig out a big hole and then fill the whole thing with string, and after that you can do a little bit of animal cruelty and cover the whole thing up with carpets to get this rug design. Huh, that's weird. It looks like my rug is moving. Something else you can do with the sniffer is you can place some blocks through a sniffer's nose and then add a slab and some signs on the side to get a really interesting cushion design. Or if you're really ballin', you can use a sniffer's snout as a base to make a golden sink. Another thing you can do with a sniffer's nose is you can place it in the roof and then put a couple of fences and an end rod underneath it to make a lamp. Okay, this one was kind of a stretch. You can still see his face. Something you can do with a camel is you can place its head through a roof and it kind of looks like one of those bear heads you see on a wall in some rich guy's house. And you can also spawn a camel on the ground and then place some sand over top of its head to make it kind of look like a little sand dune coming out of the ground. You can even place a saddle on top of the camel to make it so you can sit down on the beach with a towel beneath you. Now those were definitely some illegal build hacks, but they still aren't the best build hacks in this video. This is a pumpkin, this is a melon, and this is an eggplant. Okay, it's not actually an eggplant, it's cherry wood with a sea pickle on top, but it actually looks pretty close. Another melon trick you can do is place bamboo planks with glow lichen beside a pumpkin, and it kind of looks like a dead pumpkin. Also, if you place a bamboo block in a field of melons, it kind of looks like some kind of squash. Everyone has seen these trapdoors being used as a fence, but you can actually use a hanging sign to make a pretty cool fence as well. Speaking of hanging signs, you can do some really cool things with them, such as this one-way door, which works by hanging a sign from the top and then hanging another sign underneath it. You can also make a little doggy door on the side of your house like this, or you can place it in front of your brand new cherry wood doghouse as well. Staying on the topic of farming, you can place 2 fences in the air like this, and if you place a hanging sign underneath it, it will look like a shovel that is sticking out of the dirt. You can also replace these fences with lightning rods or end rods to make different types of handles as well. If you want to make a table, you can place some hanging signs like this to make table feet, and you can even make the table legs a bit longer if you like things that are longer. Hanging signs can also be used to make a broken jungle bridge or a useless ladder depending on how you see it. And you can place them in a pattern like this to look like a gate that is restricting your access to something. Something I bet you've never seen is a stoplight in Minecraft. Okay, you've probably seen one, I just didn't know what to say, but by placing a red sign, an oak sign, and a blue sign like this, it can kind of look like a stoplight even though 2 of the colors are wrong. Another thing you can do with the with different sign colors is hang them over top of a campfire like this to make different stages of meat cooking. But probably the most interesting hanging sign hack is this parrot perch design. I'm just kidding, it's actually a working swing which can be made using 2 chains like this, a hanging sign on each side, a trapdoor on the bottom middle, and then a boat as a seat. And after you do that, you have a working swing. Well, you can't really swing on it, but I mean I'm sitting on it, so it kinda works. You can also make another swing by doing the same thing as before, except instead of placing 1 trapdoor, you place 3 on the bottom and then 3 on the back to get another really cool swing design. This time you aren't able to sit on it. If you're trying to be some type of supervillain, all you have to do is place some redstone behind one of the chiseled bookshelves, and then you can attach a couple regular bookshelves to some sticky pistons to make a secret door inside of your library. Something else you can do with chiseled bookshelves is build a cool floor design like this, and you can even make the bookshelf look like eyes when you put a slab in front of it. If you place the bookshelf with a stone slab in a cave, it kinda looks like something is staring at you through a crack in the wall, but that isn't the coolest thing you can do with the chiseled bookshelf. If you place a bunch of bookshelves beside each other, you can actually build things using the books inside of the bookshelves. I guess suspicious sand isn't the only thing that's sus in this update. Minecraft 1.20 adds a piglin head, and what can you do with it? Well, to start, you can place it on top of an armor stand, but that's boring. Instead, if you want a piglin in the overworld, you can place a piglin head on top of a sign, and it will kind of look like a tiny piglin. And if you really want to be him, you can make a hanging sign float, attach 2 signs on the side, and then add a banner on the back and a piglin head on top to create the boss piglin. His outfit kind of looks like Lord Farquaad. If you want to build some tiny birds, you probably wouldn't think of using a piglin head, but because of the floppy ears, it actually kinda looks like birds in the sky. Of course, you have to make sure not to look at the other side though. If you place a piglin head on the ground and then put a bunch of redstone around it, it looks like a piglin was just decapitated. And if you take it a step further, you can build up with some fences and place some chains and hang a red sign under it to make it look like a guillotine just chopped off its head. Have you ever wanted to build a giant snail? You probably haven't. But you can by placing a cherry slab, a sideways cherry log, and a nether brick wall with a couple of candles on the top. Now we have giant snails to go with our giant spiders. Another giant animal you can build with cherry wood is a pig. If you place 2 upside down stairs like this and add some slabs on the top, you get a pig. You can then add a button on each side for eyes and a cherry button for a nose and a tail for extra detail. Speaking of pigs, you can also make pork with cherry wood. If you place a sideways cherry log and then attach it to 2 fences using chains, it kinda looks like a piece of ham is being cooked over a fire. Another cool cherry wood build is this garden fence, which can be made using an illegal trapdoor technique that I didn't even know existed. You can even climb this thing if you try hard enough, so that's cool. Another thing you can put in your garden is a cherry tree, but not that one is lame. If you use cherry fences as logs and pair it with azalea leaves, you can make a really cool looking miniature tree. Something else that looks cool is this trapdoor window, which you can make using bamboo or cherry wood trapdoors depending on your build. In Minecraft 1.20, a pink boat will be added, but if you think this design is boring, you can actually make your own pink boat instead. If you place some slabs in the water like this and then add a fence in the middle, you can move 2 boats as close to the fence as possible and then add some trapdoors on the side and a flag on the top to make a better looking boat. The only problem is this boat doesn't really move. If you place a netherite upgrade in an item frame, you can use it as an up or down arrow for like an elevator or something, I don't really know. This is chiseled copper, and because of this cool X design on the sides of the block, it actually makes a really nice crate if placed with some other crate looking things. And if you place these blocks in a 2x2 like this, and then place signs all around the sides, you can make an even bigger and better looking crate. You can also mix in some of the brand new copper trapdoors on the side of the crates, and you can even change the middle block to make some empty looking crates. Or we can just remove the block in the middle completely, and we get a cool little animal house. I promise I'm gonna let him out, guys. If you want to make a more humane pet house, you can place some trapdoors like this, add some carpets on the bottom, and then put the new heavy core in the front, which kind of looks like a food bowl. And if you want some more food for your pet, you can place a chiseled copper like this and put a sea pickle on the top, and it kind of looks like a melon or something. We should probably just stick to the actual melon though. I don't know if I cooked with this one. You can place some copper trapdoors on top of campfires like this to make a cool looking stove, and now we can cook the melon if we want. And if you want to make a chair to sit down and have a meal, here's one chair design using the new trapdoors, and here's another. This chair is a little bit goofy. In real life, it would be like 3 meters tall. Another new block coming in 1.21 1.21 is the crafter, which surprisingly has a lot of different building use. To start, you can make a stove by placing the crafter on top of some campfires, and then adding a few more kitchen details like this. And you can also use a crafter as cabinets if you place it facing this way instead. Who knew the crafter was the ultimate kitchen block? The bottom of the crafter can also be used as a roof, so I guess that makes it the third time it's used in this kitchen. And if you place it on the ground, it kind of looks like some kind of mat that is meant to keep the floor clean. Might as well just build the whole house out of crafters at this point. More household items that can be built with a crafter is this PC where the crafter is used as a monitor, or you can go all out and build a flat screen TV using 2 different angles of the crafter like this. Don't mind me, just sitting on my crafter couch watching my crafter TV. You can also place a crafter like this and then put a few seats around it to create an actual functioning game of tic-tac-toe. Okay, how am I losing to myself? And if you want to protect your house from intruders, you can use the crafter as a keypad like this. If you place a tough wall with a trapdoor on each side, and then add a crafter on top, and place a few more details like this, you can make a telephone booth looking thing like this. And if you look at this side of the crafter, it kind of looks like a face, which means you're actually able to build the crafter man like this. Now I know why we installed the security on the first door. This guy's not messing around. Coming up next, we have a few build hacks that are pretty tough. Tough bricks look kinda like stone bricks, so you can mix them together to make a nice looking pattern. Just like how chiseled tough and polished tough go together nicely if you place them on the floor. You can also use the top of chiseled tough bricks to make a really satisfying floor design like this. This is so cool, it almost looks like it's 3D. And if you take the side of regular chiseled tough and place it in a cave, it kinda looks like old transcriptions on the wall. This doesn't really work the same with chiseled tough bricks though, it kinda looks out of place. These brand new chiseled tough blocks can be used to make really nice looking pillars because of their unique designs, and if you want to make a fence out of tough walls, it actually looks really nice mixing them all together. You can even put one more block up on some parts like this, and then place a heavy core on top, and it kind of looks like a light that isn't on. If you pair the new tough walls with a few iron blocks like this, it looks like some kind of power station thing that would probably look good on top of a building or something. And I also found this robot guy you can make, which uses all the new blocks in the build, including the heavy cores for the eyes. I don't know why, but it kind of looks more like a frog than a robot. Speaking of heavy cores, the heavy core is actually a really useful block for builds. Well, it probably is for someone who actually knows how to build. But still, you can place it on top of a table like this, and it kind of looks like a mug or a thermos. And as we saw earlier, if you place it in an item frame, it kind of looks like eyes, which is especially scary if you just place it around a dark cave like this. I'd say I sure hope no one's watching me, but this is a video, so I hope you are. A mace is made from a heavy core, and it kind of looks like a utensil when it's placed on the table from earlier. And if you want to use the heavy cores as eyes without an item frame, I accidentally built this crab out of tough. You can also build this crab out of copper if you prefer your crabs to be cooked before you put eyes on them. Remember what we could have had instead of the armadillo. Now obviously our crab is pretty cursed, but there are some even more insane build hacks coming later in this video. But first we have these copper trees, which are just oak trees except the leaves are replaced with copper grates. And if you really want to 1.21ify this, you can replace the logs with a tough block of your choice to really make this look like a 100% real tree. You can also place a bunch of water beside your tree like this, and you can even make one of these water lilies with a copper trapdoor and a coral fan on top. Why is this thing called a brain coral fan? What is Minecraft hiding from us? Whatever they're hiding is probably in these pipes, which you can make out of copper trapdoors like this, and if you want to just make a bridge out of copper trapdoors, you can do that. Not really sure if this is a build hack though, it's just a bridge. Copper grates are really useful, as since they are see-through, you can use them to make windows like this. Guys, I swear I'm not in prison. And if you want to use them for something that looks less like you committed a crime, you can make some fences by mixing them with other copper blocks as well. You can also just switch the grates out for a trapdoor for a different window design, and this also works with the fences, although it looks a lot easier for trespassers to climb them now. The copper bulb is a new block that emits light, and you know what that means? Lamps. You can make this simple lamp design using either oxidized or normal copper plus some similar colored fences like this, or if you want to be fancier, you can place some copper blocks as a base like this, put a tough wall above it here, and then add some fences on top of the wall, and finally a slab, a trapdoor, and a bulb like this. Now this is a better looking lamp than the first one. But if you want to be even fancier, you can make a double lamp like this, and honestly I think this one is a little bit too overkill. I mean, why do we even need a third lantern in the middle? And with these lamps, you're probably going to want to add a road underneath them so that they have something to actually light up. up. And if you want to add a sewer entrance, you can move 2 of the stairs so that they are facing like this, and then add some copper grates underneath to look like a cool sewer entrance. Just make sure that you don't accidentally drop your phone in it. Now it's almost time for some cursed build hacks. But first we have this copper gear, which can be made using some of the new copper blocks, and if this gear is too much for you, you can shrink it down a bit like this if we remove the trapdoors. You can also place a copper block on the roof of a cave, and then place a wall and a fence underneath to make an artificial dripstone like this, and this actually comes in both colors as you can see, although the oxidized one looks more like an icicle than a dripstone. Another thing you can hang on the roof is a copper bulb like this to make another type of lamp, and if you want to build a copper staircase, you can now add some copper grates underneath the stairs, and also put some copper trapdoors on the sides for more detail. If you want to add some scary windows to your house, you can use the new trial spawners as an ominous window design like this, and this can also be used as a fence design if you have some kind of haunted mansion or something. A trial spawner can also be used as a bird cage if you right click on it with a parrot spawn egg so it traps the bird inside. Of course this is except for the fire, and the spinning, and the fact that it spawns parrots. Okay, that one was kind of bad, I'm not gonna lie. An ominous key can kind of look like a painting of a tree if you place it in an item frame on the wall of your house. And another thing that can go in an item frame is a breeze rod paired with a blaze rod, which is meant to look like the hot and cold on a water tap. Something that's less of a build hack and more of a cool trick is this wind charge launcher, which you can make by angling 4 dispensers full of wind charges towards you. Okay, I don't know how it turned infinite, but I'm not complaining. It's kind of like a trampoline now. If you place some copper bulbs like this, and then put some tuff in the middle, you can create a portal to the secret copper dimension. And now it's time to show you some absolutely cursed build hacks that should not be used ever, mainly because they're really stupid. First off, if you throw a wind charge and then use the new /tick freeze command, you can make a really cool smoke effect that you can use in your builds, although now the entire rest of the game is frozen, so this might not be that useful. You can also trap a bogged in some sand like this, and it will make it look like someone died while traveling the desert. When an armadillo rolls up into a ball, you can use this opportunity to use the armadillo as a soccer ball that you can even play with using a knockback sword like this. And a rolled up armadillo can also look like some boxes on the ground or on some shelves depending on where you place it. Just like earlier, if you put a bogged in some powdered snow, it will look like somebody died while traveling in the snow. The only problem with this one is that the bogged actually does die in the snow eventually. And finally, if you spawn a breeze in some water, it kinda looks like a jellyfish. Okay, yeah, that's enough cursed build hacks. That one was insanely stupid. This is a street drain that is built using the new copper grates as well as some tuff blocks, and it's a shame that you can't waterlog the copper grates, as this would actually be really cool. And if you just place a copper bulb in the sky like this and add a lever underneath, it can look like one of those floating lanterns that are for Chinese New Year, I think. I'm probably wrong about that, don't get mad at me. You can also switch the copper bulb out for one of these frog lights like this, and then you can place either oxidized trapdoors or regular copper trapdoors on the outside for another one of these lamp designs as well. And now with these trapdoors, you can also use them as a curtain thing on the side of your windows instead of using them as windows like we did earlier. And if you want to make another lamp, like we haven't made enough already, we can place some of the new tuff blocks like this, and then put a copper bulb with copper trapdoors around it like this. And another weird lamp design I've seen is this copper bulb on top of a dragon egg with some buttons on it so you can actually turn it on and off. And somehow I forgot the fact that these new trapdoors can be used as railings on the side of like a factory upper level, and you can also place some copper grates to make a nice floor to go with the trapdoor railings as well. And we can finally make a power station using some of the blocks like this to complete our factory. For these next build hacks, I decided to go find them in the new structure, the trial chambers. And the first one is just using these copper grates as like an entry to a tunnel type of thing. You could also use these copper grates as like support beams on the roof, similar to how they are used in the structure here. And there are some really cool mixes of tuff blocks used in the wall design of this structure, which isn't really a build hack, but it's still pretty useful to know. I also found out that you can actually waterlog these grates, which makes the street drain from earlier look a lot better now that I know this. And you can also build the face of a breeze like this if you ever wanted to do this, although I'm not really sure why you would. This combo of blocks looks pretty cool in the middle of a fountain, and you can use these trapdoors to make little hidden tunnels inside of your builds as well. The end of this tunnel looks pretty cool, especially with the X in the middle. It kind of looks like one of those things you have to turn to open a vault door. And probably my favorite Mojang approved build that I found is this secret room in the trial chambers, which isn't a build hack, but I just thought it was cool that I found a secret room. There's also another secret room. This is so cool. And that concludes the trial chambers build hacks. I'm honestly surprised I even found any. Now that we've seen all these different build hacks, it's time to put my skills to the test, because in the next 20 minutes, I'm gonna be building a house using only 1.21 blocks. I started by making an outline out of only copper blocks, mixing some chiseled copper and trapdoors in as well. And then I started building a wall using all different types of tuff, kinda like how they do it in the trial chambers. I then built a roof using more of these copper blocks, and once I finished the outline of the house, this is what it looked like. I'm surprised this even looks good. Next I added some windows out of the copper grates with trapdoors on the side, and I used the new tuff slabs and walls to add a little bit more detail to the front of the house. We'll just pretend I did this on the other sides as well. Now let's fill in the floor with one of the tuff patterns from earlier, and I'm also gonna add a staircase using the new copper grates underneath, and the trapdoors will act as railings as well. Next I decked out the bottom floor with some of the crafter build hacks from earlier, and then I built a crafter TV on the top floor like this. To finally give the outside a bit of detail, I added some copper bulb lamps like this, and then I made a road like we saw earlier so I could use this storm drain build hack. Then finally I added some detail that doesn't use 1.21 blocks, but it just makes the house look a little bit nicer overall. Yeah, I guess the 1.21 blocks are actually really useful. I somehow made a house that looks really good. Also, the different copper blocks are intentional. I definitely didn't use normal copper instead of waxed by accident. This is water in the nether, this is the old walking animation, and this is me punch shearing a sheep. Minecraft has had hundreds of updates and lots of things have changed throughout that time, so today I'm going to be showing you 28 old Minecraft things that you didn't know exist. Everybody knows that leather armor is the most useless armor in the game, but did you know that leather armor isn't even leather armor? In the early versions of Minecraft, leather hadn't been added to the game yet, so players would instead have to craft this armor using wool blocks that you obtained by punching sheep and turning them bald. This armor was eventually replaced with leather armor, but the texture remained the same, meaning the armor you wear today might not be what you think. Speaking of weird armor things, did you know that Minecraft's old armor system actually worked a lot differently? To start off, armor used to absorb all types of damage, including fall damage, meaning you could jump off of a massive mountain and survive wearing full leather armor. But you also might have noticed that I have 10 armor bars wearing leather armor. How is that possible? Well, prior to beta 1.6, all armor actually provided the same amount of protection, and the amount of armor bars you had was actually reflected by the amount of durability left on your armor. This meant that the only actual difference between leather and diamond armor was how fast it breaks, which in Minecraft Alpha was pretty fast. When thinking of the most iconic Minecraft item, you probably think of diamonds, but what if I told you that diamonds weren't even diamonds when they were first added to Minecraft? When Notch first added diamonds to Minecraft, he decided it would be a good idea to refer to them as emeralds instead of diamonds. Maybe this is why villagers have been after them this whole time. In the early versions of Minecraft, creepers never used to explode. Well, kinda. In the in-dev stages of the game, creepers existed as a hostile mob, but they would just melee attack you instead of explode. Don't let this fool you though, as for some reason they still exploded upon killing them. In Minecraft there are many structures, such as villages, shipwrecks, and even woodland mansions. But there is actually a structure that came before all of these, a structure that no longer exists today. When creating a world in the in-dev versions of Minecraft, you would spawn inside of a starter house that was located in the center of the world. The starter house was made up of wooden planks and stone like this, but in older versions it was just a big mossy cobblestone house. The house was filled to the brim with a bunch of chests, and each chest contained a stack of every item in the game. This seems pretty OP, and we can see why it doesn't exist today. Speaking of structures, when you think of villages, you usually think of villagers. The iconic Minecraft mob, which you can kidnap, take advantage of its self-scamming trades, and even enslave it to create a civilization. But did you know that when villages were first added to the game, there were actually no villagers to go with them? Just an eerie ghost town in the middle of nowhere. You've probably milked a cow in Minecraft before, maybe even a mushroom cow if you were looking for some soup, but I bet you've never milked a squid before, and that's because you were only able to milk squids for a short amount of time in beta 1.2 before Mojang later removed this feature. Why could you milk a squid in the first place? That I have no idea. One of the most cursed things in Minecraft is placing water in the nether, which is made completely impossible by having it instantly evaporate upon being placed. This wasn't always the case though, because in earlier versions of Minecraft you could actually place ice in the nether, and then when it melted it would cause water to flow out like normal. You better keep this information out of the hands of the wrong people though, or you might end up with an ocean in the nether. Minecraft's blocks have seen major updates over the years, but there are some things about these blocks that used to be completely different. To start, chests used to take up an entire block, causing you to actually be able to use them as a building block, and it didn't look that bad. Furnaces used to have a stone layer on top instead of the cobblestone that we see today, and climbing ladders used to require only one ladder every 2 blocks blocks instead of a straight line. But did you know that a secret slab used to exist in the game? In the really early versions of Minecraft, Notch added the dirt slab to the game, which was supposed to help make the mountains look more natural. But as you can see, it didn't really work. Most people think that crying obsidian was added in the Nether update, but crying obsidian was actually seen in the game's files all the way back in beta 1.3. But instead of looking like this, it looked like this. I can see where the crying in the name comes from now. In beta 1.4, locked chests were added all around the map as an April Fool's update. Upon clicking on these chests, you would just be given a prompt telling you that you need to buy a Steve Co. supply crate key to open the chest, which was obviously a joke. These chests would end up getting removed from the world generation in the next update. I guess we'll never know what was really inside of these chests. Do you think Minecraft brewing is confusing now? Well, it's nothing compared to Minecraft's original brewing system. In beta 1.9 pre-release 2, cauldrons were added to the game and their original use was to brew potions. All you had to do was click a water-filled cauldron with a potion ingredient, and then you could retrieve the potion using a glass bottle. Seems pretty easy, right? That is until I tell you there were 30 different potions in the game, all with confusing names. That brewing system was crazy, but not as crazy as time travel being added to Minecraft. In the beta 1.8 pre-release, Mojang added the ability to build a time machine in survival Minecraft. Well, you don't actually need a time machine, you just need to press F6 to go back in time and F7 to go forwards in time. I wonder if Minecraft will ever have a 4D version in the future. In Snapshot 15W14A, another April Fool's update, attacking mobs is completely disabled and the only way to progress is by left-clicking mobs to increase your hearts, which was also known as the love meter. This update added a bunch of mobs that were never seen again, such as the love golem, the pink wither, and even the smiling creeper, which upon exploding actually gives you flowers instead of killing you. None of this was as weird as the way you beat this update though, which is by gaining a certain amount of hearts and then completing a Minecraft-themed game of Minesweeper. I think from now on I'll just stick to playing regular Minecraft. Regular Minecraft isn't always so regular though, as the original method of respawning the Ender Dragon was added in Snapshot 15W31A. In this snapshot, you could respawn the Ender Dragon simply by building a creeper's face out of clay inside of the end. And no, I'm literally not joking, this one is real. Also in beta 1.9 pre-release 3, you could locate the stronghold based on these massive glass pillars that came out of the ground, and upon entering the portal room, you might notice something a little different about the end portal. That end portal was not nearly as different as the original Endermen though. When Endermen were first added to the game, they actually had green eyes, and upon attacking them, they would make zombie sounds instead of the sound that they make today. To make things even worse, instead of mining for diamonds, originally you could just farm Endermen to make your diamond tools instead. This is completely overpowered as long as you don't run into the white Enderman. This is a fishing rod, and this is a fishing rod being used in PvP, but did you know that when Minecraft first added the fishing rod, it actually looked like this and was completely useless? The only thing that you could do with it was stack as many of them on top of each other as you wanted. Crazy to see how far this game has come. Food in Minecraft used to be a lot different, as there was no hunger bar, meaning food would be used to instantly heal your hearts instead. When eating food, you didn't even have to wait for the animation to finish, as there was no animation. The food just instantly disappeared like you were Matt Stoney. The one downside to this though was that the food was not stackable. This meant that in order to stay alive while caving, you had to fill half your inventory up with food, allowing you to only have a little bit of space left for collecting ores. This made everything so much slower, especially because you can't sprint in these versions. You might have heard of the Aether mod, which is probably one of Minecraft's most famous mods, but did you know that Notch almost made this mod a reality? In beta 1.6, a sky dimension was added to the game and could be accessed using mods. Notch said that this dimension could have been a dream world where the player would have a random chance of being teleported to while sleeping in the game. Unfortunately, this dimension was never added to Minecraft, and instead this concept was later turned into the end. Speaking of sleeping in Minecraft used to be really annoying. In older versions of Minecraft, when trying to sleep in an area that was accessible by mobs, the game would wake you up every time a hostile mob was standing near you, even if you were separated by a wall. This made sleeping basically impossible unless you had a nuclear fallout shelter to sleep in. We've talked about some of the things added for April Fool's updates already in this video, but one of the most interesting April Fool's updates was 1.rv-pre1. Kind of a weird update name in itself. In this update, a few items were added, such as the ankle monitor, 3D glasses, and even a smartwatch. They even added a USB charging block, which could be used in the exact same way that a redstone block is used today. Now, obviously all of these items were added as a joke, but it would be kind of funny to put somebody on house arrest in your Minecraft world. In this this video, we are going to be looking at a bunch of different satisfying experiments that you can do in Minecraft. Starting with this single warden who really wants to kill me, but he can't, so he does this, which is cool and all, but it isn't satisfying. So what will happen if I spawn 100 wardens and have them do the same thing? Oh my god, I'm pretty sure I went so high that it bounced me. And sure, that was satisfying, but not as satisfying as cutting down bamboo in this bamboo-only world, which I actually can't stop doing. And what's even more insane is watching this from above, just like covering the entire world in Skulk, which you can do with the help of a couple million Ravagers and a Skulk Catalyst. And now we wait as the entire world turns into Skulk. Wait, I wonder what would happen if I added even more of these. Okay, I think I broke it. There's a literal Ravager fountain coming from the sky. Oh my god. This is a chest full of random materials, which if placed a bunch of times like this, you can break all the chests and watch all the items fall out, which looks pretty nice. But the best part of this isn't the items falling, it's picking them up, which sounds super satisfying. I could literally do this for hours. Something else you can do is place a bunch of shulkers full of netherite above a lava pool, and then when you break them, this happens. And if you use a command block to place an infinite block like this, and then you use another command block to give yourself a 1 durability pickaxe every tick, you can infinitely break pickaxes, which makes this very satisfying sound. Uh-oh, I think I'm sick. I'm throwing up pickaxes. This is working quicksand in Minecraft, which can be made using this secret formula. First, you place some soul sand on the bottom, then you place some water above, and then you place some cobwebs on top of all that, and after that, you need to just place some sand on top that's ready to be dropped in. And now you can drop the sand and watch it all fall into place, which is pretty satisfying. After that, you have a working quicksand that you can't escape. But that's not the most satisfying part. If you remove the cobwebs like this, and then drop some more sand on the top, you can make this really cool bubbling effect, which looks like it doesn't even belong in the game. This effect can also be used in a square like this, which looks pretty nice, especially when all the sand and gravel breaks at the end. Or you can drop a line of sand and gravel like this, which kind of looks like a worm when it first drops. Another thing I found that looks pretty cool is this concrete powder turning to concrete like this, and I also tried it in a line, which looks pretty nice as well. This is a village that has a massive amount of dripstone above it, which is already kind of cool to look at, and I'm going to be dropping the dripstone on the village using this machine here. Oh my god, I think my PC is going to explode. Hopefully it looks good on replay, because I literally can't see anything. Okay, somehow we actually had a couple of survivors this time, but I'm going to add a layer of anvils, sand, and gravel to drop on the village as well. And now let's spawn Timothy. Hopefully he survives. Okay, first let's drop the anvils. That was much less laggy. Now let's add some sand. It's looking like Bikini Bottom down there. And finally the gravel. Okay, there's no way Timothy survived all that. Oh wait, he's actually right here. Honestly, doing that had me feeling like I was 9 years old again, so let's try some things we all did as kids in Minecraft. First, I'm going to be burning down a forest. Okay, this is taking forever. I guess I have to do it the old-fashioned way. Now that's some good forest burning. What about blowing up a ton of TNT? I think this was a mistake. If you make a box like this, and then place a repeating command block to spawn zombies, you can make an infinitely dying zombie. That's not what I meant to do. What you can actually do is spawn a bunch of zombies inside of the box, and then you can kill them all with a sweeping edge 100 sword, and it's honestly pretty satisfying. I wonder what happens if we make the box even bigger. Okay, that was so much better. Another satisfying way to kill a bunch of mobs is with a piercing crossbow. But this crossbow isn't gonna cut it. It only killed 4 of them. We need a max piercing crossbow. Alright, and let's kill the villagers in 3, 2, 1... Okay, it didn't reach the end, but we'll just pretend it did. What happens if you break these plants that go up to sky limit? It's literally raining twisted vines. Now let's do the cactus. Okay, that one actually looked kind of nice. What about the sugar cane? Whatever this thing is. And finally, bamboo. Bamboo definitely has my favorite sound out of these. But something that might sound better is a massive dripstone hitting the ground. Okay, let's just use this genius redstone timer to make sure we don't miss the sound. And now we fall all the way to the bottom. I like how it just gets faster the more that fall. Apparently if you place a bunch of end crystals inside of each other, it looks really satisfying. But it doesn't seem to be working for me, so I guess we have to use a command block. I think we placed them on the wrong block, but it's definitely working. This thing actually looks so cool. I can't believe this is in Minecraft. Wait, I wonder what happens if we touch it. For this next one, let's build a giant cactus farm. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Just watching them pop up all over the place is really satisfying. Another satisfying thing we can do is place skulk sensors in a row like this, and then we can fill all the empty slots up with TNT. And now finally, if we drop an item on it, it makes this really cool pulsing effect. Oh yeah, I forgot it would all blow up. For this next experiment, we are going to need a massive pyramid, so let's build that. Okay, that literally took me almost 30 minutes and I didn't even finish it. But now what we can do is place water in the middle and watch it all flow down the pyramid. Was that worth the 30-minute wait? Probably not. We can also drain all the water as well, but it's definitely not as satisfying as watching it flow down the pyramid. Earlier, we dropped a bunch of anvils on a village, but I wonder what it would look like if we dropped it on a regular world. Okay, it kinda just started. I didn't mean for that to happen. But yeah, that was still pretty cool. Now let's take a break from experiments and check out some of the most satisfying maps in Minecraft. These are 7 colored rings made by Bosca Winks, and when you fly through them one after another, it's actually really cool to look at. Just like this massive spiral made by Amy Oak, which looks especially cool if you fly through it with an elytra like this. This is an island in the shape of a Mobius strip that was also made by Amy Oak, which I honestly have no idea how it works, but it's definitely really satisfying to look at. And another thing that I don't understand is this Penrose triangle made by Aliscata, which also looks really cool from far away. Wait, I wonder what will happen if I turn it to sand. These next 3 builds were made by Adamax EP, and these are more like illusions, but they are still really satisfying to look at, especially this one, which will probably make you dizzy if you spin fast enough. If you put a Jeb name tag on a sheep, it makes it rainbow. So I wonder what will happen if I make a big pit and fill it with Jeb sheep. This is pretty normal. I see this every day in survival. Okay, now this is insane. You can barely even tell that there are sheep in the hole. Next, let's create a sand-only world and see what happens. Oh wait, I have to break the block first. There's a short amount of time before it becomes way too laggy. So now let's make it laggier with concrete. This would probably look so cool if it wasn't a slideshow. Next, I decided to make a sapling only world, and watching them grow was actually really satisfying. I can't move on until all the holes are filled. Another experiment similar to this idea is making a drip leaf only world. I honestly had no idea what would happen with this one, but it's probably one of my favorites so far. And the last world I made was a cactus only world, but it didn't really go well, so we'll just move on. If you place 2 slabs like this, and then you push them together with a piston, you can make an illegal slab. So I wonder what it would look like if we copied the build a bunch of times to make a wall of illegal slabs. Honestly, I'm not sure if this is satisfying, but it's definitely pretty cool, and also really laggy. Picking up a ton of XP can also be pretty satisfying. Okay, it just won't stop. It's been doing this for like 5 minutes. And for the last experiment, I decided to put some bees in a nest. A lot of bees. Okay, if we set it to day, they should all come out at the same time. Oh my god. Yeah, I don't even know if that was satisfying. It's kind of unsettling, actually. There is a new cherry blossom biome coming to Minecraft, and what comes with it? Pink wood. Now, personally, I would never make a pink house. That seems kind of sus. I didn't put that. I don't know who did that. That's Photoshop. I got hacked. Pretty much every imaginable wood thing can be made out of cherry wood now, including a boat. And the boat actually looks kind of good. I'm not even gonna hate this time. This biome also adds cherry leaves and these pink petals, which I think is a flower. You can bone meal dupe it, so it probably is. Overall, I think this biome is pretty cool, and all it's really missing is some white water. Wait, why did that noise play? Now, pink wood is obviously crazy, but it's nothing compared to some of the next features. Currently, there are 5 mob heads in the game, but there is actually a 6th one coming in 1.20. In the 1.20 snapshots, a piglin head has been added to the game. Now, I'm not sure how you obtain one of these things. I hope you don't have to kill a piglin for one, because that seems kind of unethical, but you gotta do what you gotta do. You would think these piglin heads would allow you to blend in, but you still end up getting a 5-star wanted level, and I don't even blame them. I would be upset as well if someone walked in wearing my head. That isn't the only change related to mob heads that we will be seeing though, and this next one is actually pretty cool. If you are familiar with how note blocks work, then you are not like me, but basically different blocks underneath equals different sounds. That's the simple way to put it. But now you can actually put a mob head on top of a note block, and it will make a sound that the mob would make, like this. Every head obtainable in survival is able to do this, and there's even a player head sound. I'm just kidding, I just wanted to do that, I don't know why. One of the biggest features in this update is the new archaeology feature, and in order to do the archaeology, you need to use a brush on some suspicious sand. You can't actually get anything from it unless you find it naturally, and suspicious sand is only found in desert wells and desert pyramids. Depending on the structure though, you can find some pretty crazy loot. In desert pyramids, you can find a pottery shard, TNT, gunpowder, emeralds, and even diamonds. And in a desert well, you can also find pottery shards and emeralds, but you can also find find a brick, sticks, or suspicious stew. Unfortunately, you can't find any dinosaur bones in either of these. Something you can find in both of them though is a sniffer egg, but more on that later. There are 4 different pottery shards you can find, and if you do find pottery shards, it can be used to craft a decorated pot. But wait, what is a decorated pot? That's what I said when I read this. I don't even know if this is a new feature. Well, basically you can craft a regular pot like this, but if you want some cool caveman scribes on the side, you can simply switch out any or all of the bricks for a pottery shard like this. Then when you place the pot, instead of being lame and boring, you will have a very cool and unboring pot. The shard will only be on all 4 sides if you craft it like this though, allowing you to use all 4 shards if you're built like that to create a pot with a different image on each side. Now you're probably wondering what these pots are used for, and I'ma be real, I have no idea. Something I do know about though is the sniffer, Minecraft Live 2022's mob vote winner. The sniffer can be hatched from an egg which is found in suspicious sand, but it's not yet in the game so I can't show you. But what I can show you is the crazy amount of animations this thing has. Like it can sniff, it can also sniff. Oh yeah, and it can sit down and dig for seeds, so that's pretty cool. A sniffer also feels happy according to the wiki. I wouldn't relate. These things can do a lot of things. That's a sentence said by somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about. The sniffer is a passive mob, and all it does right now is sniff and dig for ancient seeds out of the ground, but you are also able to ride a sniffer like this. Okay, that's not real, I baited you. This is actually a new feature though, it's the /ride command. It allows you to ride any mob, which is pretty cool. One of the seeds the sniffer can find is torchflower seeds, which are also used to breed sniffers to create a snifflet. That's what they're called. Torchflower seeds grow into a torchflower, which are just decorative as far as I can tell, and they're probably one of the coolest looking flowers in the game so far, but they're not even close to the coolest update in this video. There is another new mob coming to Minecraft 1.20, and no, it's not the warden shark. I don't know why it would be. It's actually the camel, a brand new mob based on the real life camel. The camel is a passive mob which can be found in desert villages, only the villages, not the whole desert. Camels can be ridden with a saddle, but the most interesting part of this is that 2 players can actually ride a camel at the same time. A camel is also tall enough to protect you from all the hostile mobs in your world, is what the wiki says as I die on my camel. To be fair, I was standing still, it actually does a pretty good job of blocking damage. Camels can actually sit, which is kinda crazy, but they are also bred using cactuses, which is kinda interesting. Like, why does a cactus hurt me, but I can just hold it in my hand? Camels have a built-in chest which works just like a chest does on a horse, and it also has a built-in dash ability, which is kinda crazy. This got me feeling like I'm playing Fortnite. With all this information, camels seem pretty OP, but you know what else is OP? Netherite armor. Netherite is getting a huge change in 1.20. Now, instead of just putting diamond armor or tools and a netherite ingot in a smithing table, you have to get one of these netherite upgrade smithing templates to go with it. You can find these netherite upgrades inside of Bastion remnants, and they can be duplicated using this crafting recipe. A lot of people have said this, but I think this feature is very bad for servers, as it basically allows people to gatekeep netherite. There is one good change coming for servers in 1.20 though, which is the new armor trims. These templates can be found in a variety of different structures, and they can be combined with one of these 10 materials and a piece of armor to make some sick designs like this. There are way too many unique armor combinations to show them all, so here are some of my favorites. You can also duplicate these templates with the same recipe as before, except the netherrack is switched out for the material on the template. Honestly, I think customization features like this are really good, and I hope there's more of these in the future. But even with how good this still isn't the best update in the video. We've talked about a new wood type being added already, but there is actually another one coming as well. It is now possible to craft a block of bamboo like this, and you can actually turn this thing into 2 pieces of bamboo planks like this. Here are all the things you can make using bamboo wood. It's pretty much the same stuff you can make with cherry wood, except there's this one block that's different, a bamboo mosaic. Bamboo mosaics can be crafted with 2 bamboo slabs like this, and you can also turn them into slabs and stairs like this. Honestly, I don't think this block looks that cool, and it's kinda expensive, so I don't know if I'll be using it. One thing I will be using though is the bamboo raft. It's basically a boat, but it's called a raft just like in one of my favorite games, Raft Wars 2. The cool thing about this though is that it has no walls, unlike a boat. You can also put a chest on it like the other boats, but that's old news. This is 1.20 now. Something that isn't old news though is hanging signs. Hanging signs can be crafted using every type of wood, and as you can probably guess, you can hang them and write a message on them. You can currently hang them off the sides of blocks or from the roof like this. There is one downside to them though. Hanging signs have a lot less room to write on. Not a problem for me though, because there's only one message I wanted to write. Another new block coming to 1.20 is chisel chiseled bookshelves. You probably didn't think of this, but chiseled bookshelves are actually used to store books. But the cool thing is, you can actually put enchanted books and written books inside of it as well. Basically, there are 6 book slots and each one can have a different book. This is pretty cool compared to normal bookshelves, which are basically only used for higher enchantments. The chiseled bookshelf is crafted like this and can be used as fuel in furnaces to smelt 1.5 items. I don't know why you needed to know that, but the wiki felt like it needed to tell me, so I'm telling you. You can also use hoppers and droppers to fill and also remove books from these bookshelves, so you could actually create a pretty cool library using this. If you play a lot of creative mode, you might be happy or mad, I don't know which one you will be honestly, to see that the creative inventory sorting has been changed. The items and blocks are now sorted into these 10 categories. If you play creative, let me know if this is good or bad. Personally, I think it's an L. I'm struggling to find a lava bucket.